Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. To say this game is divisive would be an understatement, because I personally know a lot of people who have this as their favorite FNAF game, but there are definitely some people who really don't like this game. But what do I think of the game? Well, stick around and find out. And if you enjoy me talking about FNAF in videos, then you should definitely subscribe to the channel. Starting off with the story, we seem to be playing as Mike again, going down into an underground facility which houses animatronics from the sister location of Fredbear's Family Diner. There also is a popular theory which I have neglected to mention until this point, claiming that the Mike that we play as in some of these games is actually Michael Afton and the son of William Afton. Which, if you saw my FNAF free video, you would know that I claimed that the story of that game felt like a confrontation between the protagonist and William. And if we're going off this theory, I think it truly does make the stories of these classic games so much better. Especially sister location, because it seems we're going down into this bunker to find our sister Elizabeth Afton, who does possess Circus Baby. And if we're looking at it that way, I think the story of this game is pretty good, all things considered. We'll talk about story a little bit later on in the video. Right now I really want to talk about the gameplay. Scott definitely wanted to try something new with FNAF because sister location does away with the typical sit and survive gameplay in favor of a more point-and-click adventure type game. Kind of giving off the illusion of a free roam FNAF game, sister location has a ton of scripted sequences. The player will be given a different task to do every night, and once you're finished with the mission at hand, the player can go home, relax, and suck down a giant bowl of popcorn while watching some trash television. Truly the American dream. And I'm not gonna lie to you, while some of the nights can be pretty fun, offering some pretty terrifying set pieces, a lot of the time the mission structure of this game can feel very mundane. And because the game is structured like this game isn't really as replayable as the other FNAF games, and a lot of the times the nights do feel pretty boring. The game also moved away from the supernatural side of the older FNAF games and instead introduces a lot more sci-fi elements to the series. And while I do enjoy some of the new things sister location brings to the table, I will admit a majority of these elements feel kind of out of place. And I have to admit, some of these sci-fi elements did kind of damage the FNAF lore for me. And this game would go on to affect future titles in the series. Now FNAF is kind of this mixture of sci-fi and supernatural, and not all of it really works for me. But with a few of those negatives out of the way, I will actually offer a hot take. Sister location has my personal favorite atmosphere of the entire series. I love the color scheme of this game personally, and I love how the game subverts you in darkness a lot of the time. It truly does make you feel like you're in an abandoned warehouse full of spooky animatronics. And speaking of the animatronics, let's talk about the fun times for a little bit. I personally love the designs of the fun times. I love the colors they use for these guys because they give off the circus vibes very well. They look like a bunch of clowns. I also think their movable faceplates are pretty neat and terrifying, and they remind me a lot of the cast from the first game. I could totally buy a kid wanting to see these guys in person, but whenever you use good lighting and creepy atmosphere to your advantage, these guys quickly turn horrifying. And since sister location was the first game in the series to have voice acting, we get a lot of great voices from these guys as well, and I think it adds a lot of personality to them. Also, William designed these guys specifically for the purpose of kidnapping children, so, you know, pretty dark stuff that we would expect to see from this franchise. That's not the only messed up thing in this game though, as the ending shows the animatronics scooping your insides out, jumping inside you and controlling you like some sort of puppet to escape to the surface world. Mike did find his sister, but she would end up betraying him in the end. Despite her guiding us throughout the entire game, she had her own motivations. Obviously, Circus Baby is supposed to be the antagonist, but I like how the game kind of humanizes her in a way. They're just someone in a bad situation trying to escape by any means necessary, along with the other kids that are probably possessing these robots. Or Remnant, or whatever the hell some of these fun times are filled with. We don't really know, it's kind of confusing. Yeah, like I said, some of the sci-fi elements that were introduced kind of bite them in the ass later on. Overall, though, I find Sister Location to be very middle of the road. There are a lot of cool things that the game introduces, but with all of those cool things comes a lot of things that just bring the game down in the long run. This is definitely the black sheep of the franchise, and I understand people who do like this game, but I also think you're totally valid if you didn't like what this game had to offer. But those are just my thoughts on Sister Location, and I'll see you in whatever my next project ends up being.